Untold every day. Real people, raw stories.
The first time I noticed something was wrong with the cabin, I had just put my kids to bed. It was the first night of our mountain getaway, one of those rustic Airbnbs tucked deep in the Appalachians, the kind that promised off grid tranquility, like that's a good thing. My wife picked it. She said we needed time away, time to reset. I didn't argue. Things had been tense between us. Distance seemed better than silence. The place was smaller than the photos made it seem, but cozy enough. A wood stove, a saging couch, two small bedrooms. The internet barely worked, which maybe was the point. We spent the day hiking, and the boys collected sticks and rocks. My wife took a million pictures, none of us smiling the same way. By nightfall, we were tired. I tucked the boys into their beds, read a couple pages of an old goosebump I found on the shelf, and locked the door. That's when I heard it. A faint thud. Not outside, but from within the house. I followed it to the hallway closet. It looked normal, full of winter coats and some extra blankets. But at the bottom, under the moth-eaten rug, was a square outline in the wood. A hatch. I pried it open. There was a ladder. I didn't know why I didn't mention it to my wife, but maybe I didn't want to spook her. Maybe I just didn't want to admit that I was spooked. Instead, I closed the hatch and tried to ignore it. The way the air around it felt, heavier, like it had its own temperature. Around 2 a.m., I woke up freezing. Not cold, freezing. Breath in the air freezing. The fire had died, but that didn't explain why the room felt like a meat locker. I got up, checked on the boys. Their room was fine, warm, peaceful. That's when I saw it. The closet door was open, the hatch was open, and the ladder was extended. I stood there waiting for something to happen, a noise, a movement, nothing. I closed it, double lashed it with an old rusty hook on the inside of the door, and stacked two suitcases in front of it. By morning, my wife was annoyed that I hadn't woken her. I told her it must have been a draft, a bad dream. She didn't believe me, but we let it go. That night, after dinner, my youngest, Dylan, started acting weird. He kept staring at the closet and wouldn't go near it, wouldn't sleep. Said, the quiet man in the hole didn't like visitors. When I asked what he meant, he just cried. Later, after the kids were asleep, in our bed this time, my wife pulled me aside. She looked pale. She said she saw a light under the closet door, faint like a flashlight gleaming. Moving though. I thought it was down the fuse box or something. It wasn't. We tried calling the host. No answer. I messaged Airbnb. No response. I should have left. We should have packed up and driven the 4 hours back home in the middle of the night, but something held us there. Guilt maybe, or stubbornness, or just a dumb human instinct to not want to look crazy. The third night, we decided to keep the boys in our room again. Around 3:12 a.m., I woke up to the sound of breathing. Not snoring, breathing. Rhythmic, wet. It was coming from the hallway. I opened the bathroom door, slowly. The hallway was dark. The closet was open again. And this time, something was halfway up the ladder. It was human-shaped. Long arms and no shirt. A spine that curled like a question mark, and I couldn't see a face. Just a pale curve of a shoulder, slowly rising. I slammed the door. We left everything behind. Bags, foods, even the rental car keys. We ran down the driveway barefoot in our pajamas, holding the boys and shaking with adrenaline. We flagged down a passing truck and never looked back. The sheriff said the property had no basement. Said the Airbnb hadn't been rented in almost a year. The owner died last spring. Natural causes. Alone in the house. We told the sheriff about the hatch, and the sheriff just looked at me and said, "Son, that house don't have no second floor, let alone a third one underground." That was 5 months ago. I still check closets every night, even hotels, especially hotels. Because ever since that trip, I started hearing something in the walls, breathing, a voice that sometimes whispers, "You brought me back." The last time I saw my brother, we were laughing about something stupid. Some meme he just showed me on his phone. He had this dumb habit of saving the worst memes for when I was half asleep, just to see if I'd laugh harder. We were halfway through a road trip with our parents, heading down from Indiana to Myrtle Beach. Family vacation, round 2. The first had ended in an ER visit because Dad forgot to tell anyone he was allergic to shellfish.
Side-eye in your closet.
This
Do me
one
a
was
favor.
supposed to be better.
Like, subscribe,
Lighter,
and hit the bell
closer.
so you'll never miss a tale untold.
I wish I remembered what the
every
meme
day.
was, but I didn't. We stopped at a rest area just after midnight. You've seen the kind, the concrete, the bathroom, flickering overhead lights, vending machines. You know, the one that only takes the exact change. There was one other car in the lot, a white pickup with a missing hubcap. Nathan said he had to pee and wandered off towards the men's room. I sat on the curb, scrolling, for like 10 minutes. Then 15 minutes passed, and Dad got annoyed. He probably fell asleep, he joked, heading over. 5 minutes later, Dad came back out alone. He's not in there. At first we laughed, thought he was messing with us. Nathan was like that, quiet and mischievous. But when we all checked and called his name, there he was. Except, no answer. The air changed. He was gone. We called 911. The cops came fast. Surprisingly, they asked a million questions. Where was he standing? What was he wearing? Who was the driver of the pickup? Did we get a plate? We didn't, and none of us had paid attention. Nathan just vanished. They found his phone 3 days later, buried in a drainage ditch, 200 yards from the rest stop. Unlocked. Open to his camera roll. The last photo on it wasn't a selfie. It was a blurred image of a hallway, cracked tile floor, and one pale foot at the edge of a frame, as if the camera had been pressed against his chest and clicked mid-struggle. Weeks passed, no leads, no sightings, and eventually, the search died down. My parents stopped talking about it. It was like they packed away the grief in a box and shoved it deep in the closet. But I couldn't, because a month after we got home, I got a voicemail, no caller ID, just a voice, whispering, "He's still here, but he's not alone." I played it back a dozen times trying to place the voice. It wasn't Nathan. It was older, shaky, but it sounded scared. The next day, I got another one. "He says you saw the man. Why didn't you say anything?" I didn't tell my parents. I didn't know how to. I still don't. But every month, without fail, I get another voicemail. Always from a different number. Always short. Always from some voice I don't know, but sounds just close enough to someone I might have met. Last night said, "He's almost ready to come back, but someone has to take his place."